Hello YouTube, I just wanted to do a video to show why I think Svelte is easier than React with a simple tasks app. So first things first, I'm in a Svelte file, so how Svelte files are constructed is pretty much HTML, but you have a script block at the beginning, that's where you put all your JavaScript. You can use TypeScript if you do a lang attribute and do TS inside of that, and I'll do TypeScript instead of JavaScript. Um, but I'll just do JavaScript for this tutorial. And you put your HTML here, and after that you can put style tags if you want to style just that element. It's one element or page per file. So if you want to style something just on that page or within that element, you can do style tags within your Svelte file as well. So to get started, we'll just do an H1 tag, and we'll do, I'm just doing a simple tasks app that doesn't have any sort of memory or anything like that. So state, normally you'd use state in React. Once you get to the React side, I'll show that, but Svelte is a little bit simpler on this. Typically you'd just use a lot, and we'll do a text box, and then equals, then $state. So this is the state rune. This is a Svelte 5 way of doing it. If you're classic and you want to use Svelte 4, you can use Svelte 4 syntax, but I don't know if you can use both at the same time or not. Then we'll do another one for the tasks array. Then we'll do another state rune, and initial state would be an empty array. And after this, we can interact with these just like they're regular JavaScript objects. So we'll do a div card to create some spacing, just using that built-in styling for Vite projects. And inside of this, we'll just do an input, and then we'll do a button to add. So we'll do that should launch the server, and control click to open it. And this is what we got so far. You can see it logic wise, it does nothing. First things first, we can bind this to the text box state. So to bind a text box or anything else in Svelte, you can just use the bind attribute that uses a colon and value. So we're binding the value of the box, and then curly braces, or you do equal sign, and then curly braces, you do the state that you want to bind it, the text box to. So we'll just bind it to text box for now. So now this text box is bound to that state. So I'm actually updating that state when I'm typing this text box. And the add button, you can just do an on-click handler just like you would with an HTML object. And we'll do an anonymous function. You don't need to pass any event into it. And we'll do tasks array dot push, and that will push the current value of text box. Then we can change the text box back to blank, and you just do normal equals operand like that. You won't be able to see anything since I'm not looping through the array or whatnot, but you can see that it clears out the text box when I click add. So now we gotta loop through the array. So in curly braces, you can just use the each command for Svelte, and the array you want to loop through, then you do as, then how you want it's a variable to be within the each block. Then we'll also pass the index in as the IDX variable. Then you end it with slash each in curly braces. If I type it right. Now we'll just do a div card to create some spacing between each one. Then have a button. And we'll just do task with button title. Then just semantically we'll just do h2 element and then tasks above that, just so that we know anything below that's tasks. And you can see our buttons are created, but they don't really do anything. We want the task to be taken off once we click on the button, so we can do a non-click handler, just like we did with the previous one, anonymous function. And then we will do a tasks array splice method, and we'll do the index, which is the IDX variable, and we'll just delete one item. So make sure that's refreshed good. As you can see, it'll delete itself when I click on it. So that's how you build a simple tasks app in Svelte 5. Now React will be a little bit different because the syntax can be a little bit more confusing when it comes to that. So we're in the Svelte project, we can do the same H1. JSX strays a little bit more from HTML, but H1 still interact about the same. Then we'll do our and you can see you have to do class name in React, unlike Svelte. This is where it strays from HTML a bit. And we'll do our input, and we'll do our button. And we'll do a use state. So use state is a little bit differently. You usually use the const for use state in React, and you have to destructure it as an array. So then you do a text box, that's your getter, and you have to do the setter, so set text box, and we'll do that as a equals use state. And the initial state will be just a set of quote marks, and one for the array. And to bind and React, you just use the value. But as you can see, figure out how to go to the right directory here. Now we're on the React side, but you can see I cannot type into the box. That's because React will not handle the setting automatically like Svelte does. So to do that, you have to do an onChange handler. Anonymous function can be used, but you pass E in as event. That's usually how I do it. And you have to do a set text box, and e.target.value. So now when you type, it should update that state. Now we'll do the H2, then the tasks, just so that we can see them as we figure them out here. Then we'll do a tasks array dot map. Then we'll do a task arrow function, and it'll return a div element. Oops. And class name. Actually, we'll do the task in parentheses so that we can also get the index. Because this is the item we're returning, we have to key it, otherwise it'll yell at us in the console. And we'll set the key to the index. This is already more work too. Now we can do the button and set that to the task. Then this button up here, we'll do an on-click handler. We'll first do set task array, then we'll get the current value of it, and then we'll spread that, and we'll add the text box value. And we'll do a set text box, and set that back to the empty string. So now when we do that, we get essentially the same thing, but it doesn't delete those yet. We haven't implemented that. So to do that, we have to do the on-click function or handler. We can just do the anonymous function thing, and we'll do const, or not const, this is where it gets fun in React. Because you really gotta figure out what you're doing to do a simple function like this. Because you have a separate setter and getter method. So then we can do current task dot splice and the index of that item, and we'll delete one. And then we'll do set tasks array, and then set that to current tasks. As you can see, that works as well, but it was quite a bit more of a headache in React compared to Svelte. And was it less lines of code? No, it was more lines of code. So it's down to 30 lines of code, whereas it's only 24 with Svelte. So yeah, it's that's why I believe that Svelte is at least easier to learn, easier to understand, and might work better for some projects. So it's something to consider if you're looking at what framework to use for the project you're working on. You might want to consider Svelte. It might work better for you, especially something as basic as this. So I guess I'll see you in the next one.